are now tuned to the game.
We are the gentlemen advancing the melanin evolution.
Welcome to another edition of the Game Recognized Game podcast with RLJ and Kev. I'm KEV, that's RLJ, and we are the gentlemen advancing the melanin evolution, where evolution is revolution. Brother Jay, man, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, happy Kwanzaa, happy Hanukkah.
All the good
all
stuff.
that. All the
things,
good stuff, man.
All the things, man. Listen, we are winding down 2022. We're winding down, and we are preparing to march into 2023, bro.
Yo, man, you said that joint, like, what's the soap opera that used to stories, man? I'm sorry, the stories. Black folks, we call them the stories, not the soap operas.
Yeah.
The stories, man. What's the joint? Yeah, like sand in an hourglass.
As the world turns.
What was it? As the world turns, or these are the days of our lives?
Days of our lives.
Yeah.
And they all had the same damn story.
All the same shit, man. Yo, shout out to my grandmother and all my aunties, man. Yo, why I'm 8, 9 years old, I know everything that's going on the story.
Victor, what show was Victor on?
Victor was on was that As the World Turns?
Victor, yeah. So it was one of them. It was one of them.
I think it was As the World Turned. I gotta Google that one, man. But yeah, Victor, white dude with the thick mustache, he looked like a bootleg Tom Selleck. I used to think it was Magnum P.I.
Yep. And they all looked
man.
the same. They all had that dramatic lighting.
Yeah, man.
And yeah, it was a lot happening. But no, man, we 2022, man. We were afraid when it started, and it had a slow start, but then
Young and the Restless.
Restless.
That's Victor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Young and the Restless.
Things just started speeding up, and I looked up. It was April. I looked up again. It was Halloween, and now as I blink, I'm about to go out in these streets and buy some last minute Christmas gifts.
Man, I'm telling you, man, I'm done. I'm done with all my Christmas shopping, man.
Yeah, I just started.
Yeah, man. I try to get that stuff out the way early because I hate that. I hate Christmas shopping.
Me too. And I typically have it done early, but it hasn't really, like, the holiday season hasn't really been like, typically it feels like Christmas, or like you feel like the holidays. Now it doesn't really feel as if it's the holiday season. So maybe that's why I was delayed in getting my stuff. I don't know, but
you're not the first person that I've heard say that, man. I've legit, within the last 2 weeks, I've at least talked to at least 3 or 4 people that have said the exact same thing. And I kind of feel that way too. It just doesn't feel like the holiday season. And to your point, the way the world has turned this year, it seems like it's a never-ending story of a very bad movie.
Yeah.
But at the same time, man, I know for me, I've been doing a lot of reflecting, doing my prayer meditation every morning, and something popped in my head the other day, and I'm like, damn, man, with all of the things that have transpired this year, I'm like, yo, how the hell am I still standing here? And then I got kind of happy, right? I was like, yo, I'm still on my feet.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
Yeah.
And kind of just going back and looking at different things that have happened, man. And I'll be honest with you, like the grief from losing my sister has kind of stuck with me, but it really does feel like the moment when she passed, it feels like it was a lifetime ago. But that was just in February, bro.
Yeah. And I think it's because from that moment, emotionally you experience so much that it elongates the time in the experience, when really it's like No, it really wasn't a long time. Like I felt all of those things probably within 48 hours. Everything that felt like it was like a month ago. Yeah, it's only been 2 days. And I think that's the interesting part about grief, is that it can transmogrify what we know as time, our existence, and then what will then become our new reality, all within a matter of seconds. And
yeah,
it'll do it often, right? Like we've talked about this several times. Grief comes in waves and cycles, and you'll be good, and then 1 minute,
and then you're not. Like I'm telling you, man.
And that minute lasts for a very long, like it could last for days, weeks, months. And then the next minute, as soon as you come out of that, it's like everything is back to normal, or the new normal. But you ride these waves, and even as close to, in terms of time, from your sister's passing, like even when we think about individuals that have transitioned long before now, like we can reflect, and it seems like it was like so long ago, and then sometimes it's like, oh, it's only been 2 years, right? But it's because we had to endure so much, or we experienced so much in terms of our grief and our processing, that it just feels like a very long time.
And it's really not, man. And when you talk about like it comes in waves, it's wild, because she passes in February. I'm at Howard Homecoming in October, and one of the Howard, like the official alumni events, everybody tried to throw a party during Howard Homecoming, but I guess one of the events that was on the Howard alumni itinerary was at the small concert venue / bar called Soundcheck, DC, right around the corner from Park on 14th. And that's where my sister used to work. And I didn't realize that was the venue we were going to, when we up in stands, probably stands pour the double shots, but it's a single.
The glass is huge, and they fill man to the brim. Shout out to Stands, man.
Shout out to Stands, man, and the fried chicken there. But dog, we in there, and he's like, yeah, man, we can go down the street to the next spot. And I'm like, where is it? Like Soundcheck. And it didn't resonate with me until we were in the line, right? And then I'm like, wait a second. I've seen these security cats before. And they recognized me, because most of the people that she worked with came to her services back in February. And then it just dawned on me like, oh shit. Because if I had known this is where we were going, I probably would not have went. Yeah. Like real rap, Brother Jay, I would not have gone. And I probably would have been a killjoy or whatever. But I said, all right, we here. I go in, and then I'm meeting like other people that knew my sister. And they're just speaking so glowingly of her, and how much, she brought light to them, and put a smile on their face. And bruh, I'm in the middle of the club having a breakdown, man. Yeah. Like my LB was in that joint, had to legit hold me up. Cause man, I was in that joint having a breakdown. So it come. Yeah. And you can't control it. Yo, but it was weird, because it was like I felt her spirit when I was there. But at the same time, like I wasn't ready to feel in that moment. I'm out partying. Yeah. I had been out at Howard Homecoming festivities the whole day. So this was like the last piece of it. Oh, you was homecoming. I was homecoming, man. I was outside, bro. And my alma mater, man. Shout out to George Mason. We did some bootleg. We did a bootleg Black alumni reunion ourselves for Howard Homecoming because people used to come out for Howard Homecoming anyway.
Yeah.
And so I was outside, man. So I wasn't really thinking about grieving. I was thinking about these streets. And man, boy, that joint smacked me in the face. And next thing you know, I'm in the club crying, Brother Jay, crying. Like a baby. I mean, I ain't talking about like a cool cry. You know how you had them cool cries, man. And you
sniffle
might,
and you wipe.
Yeah. You might dab your eyes, something like that. Oh no, nigga, no. I was in that joint bawling.
Yeah, uncontrollable.
And so man. And so I was able to pull myself together, and it ended up being a decent night. But at the same time, man, to your point, it just feels like, in some instances this year, time has stood still.
Mm.
And then in other instances, it's been a blur.
Yeah. But
during my reflection, man, I don't know. I don't know if it was the source and the Father of lights telling us like, yo, you can be all right. Or if it was the ancestors telling me we were gonna be all right. But in that moment, I was like, yo, I made it through a lot of shit this year, man. I mean, a lot of shit.
Bro, and that's powerful because a lot of people don't step into their power to change their perspective. And that's right, because in that space, you could have chosen and made the conscious decision to think about the things that you've endured and the things that you've lost. Not that you are an overcomer. You could have been, this is what happened to me. Not, this is what happened for me. Or, this is what happened to me, right? And so, many times, I think it's our human nature. It's easy to extract the negative out of a situation because of the way our brains are wired. And it takes an extra 3 seconds to go from a negative impulse to a positive impulse. And a lot of us don't activate our ability to shift our perspective.
That 3 seconds is a lifetime.
It is.
Because I think it's easier. I think it's easier to automatically just dive into the negative impulse.
Yeah.
And like we've talked about it on previous shows. In some instances, you just have to breathe, and it's the power of the pause.
Yeah.
Right. And I've really just been a proponent of sitting in whatever I'm feeling.
Yeah.
This year, but I think the challenge has been me verbalizing that to the people in my inner circle and the people that are closer to me, because, you don't want to seem like a complainer. Right. My homegirl, she was like, you always, come to the rescue and there for other people, but you don't allow people to be there for you. Mm. And it was a cold dose of reality for me, because I think she was very accurate. She was very accurate. But I also think the challenge is, I also recognize that this year, it just hasn't been me going through stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like my best friend lost his mother in August.
Yeah.
Which was like a Band-Aid ripped off for me as well. My homeboy, they lost their son on my sister's birthday. Another Band-Aid ripped off of me. And I'm sensitive to that.
Yeah.
Everybody's going through stuff. I mean, let's be real, man. People been going through shit the last 3 years.
Nonstop.
It's been a lot of loss the last 3 years. But I when she told me that, I said, yo, I gotta change. I have to change my perspective. And it goes back to the life visioning book we were reading. for Bourbon and Book series when he talks about trying not to play the victim role. And it's not saying that you're not entitled to feel how you feel about being a victim or if you are victimized, but it's also when you have a tendency to walk through the world and things happen, you automatically say, oh, well, things are happening to me, or the universe is aligning itself against me.
Yeah.
Or people or against me, or circumstances are against me. And it's almost like if you fall into that mindset, you're giving up and giving away your power.
Yeah.
You're giving away your power to have a paradigm shift where, you don't necessarily have to look at loss as being detrimental to your life. Like, of course, you're going to hurt and it doesn't feel good and you're going to be sad and you have a million thoughts running through your head, but you don't look at it like as if it's only happening to me.
Yeah. Because
it's happening to everyone. I mean, hell, you yourself, man, how many funerals you been to this year, bro?
A lot.
Too many.
Too many, right? And
young people too. Young people.
And it was, brother, and those the two that I immediately thought of, they were a couple days apart. Under the age of 24, 23. Like, I remember one of my community grandmothers, she said, death is no respect of persons. She said, I'm old. And I started laughing. She goes, in all these years, right, you think and you assume that you die old. And she said, baby, there's nothing you can do to delay death.
Yeah, man. Death is the only equitable thing I'm aware of that applies to all people, color, creed. It don't matter. Yeah.
Ain't no discrimination, right?
No discrimination, like, man.
You can't delay it. When it's your time, when your number is called, there's nothing you can do. She goes, how you gonna outrun it? She goes, you hear people all the time talking about they cheat death. No, it just wasn't their time. Right? And so she started to talk about, she's like, when you really get down to it, she was almost 100. But when she said, as old as I am, life is still only but a vapor. Can't control it. And when it's your time, it's going to be your turn.
Yo, the elders always dropping gems like that, man. And I'm just happy that you weren't too young or immature in your thinking to not receive it. Like you received it.
Yeah.
Because I had a community grandfather, if you will, Mr. Bullock, man. He was my grandfather's neighbor, lived across the street, and they moved into the neighborhood the same year, within a month apart from one another.
Okay.
Right. And so Mr. Bullock was 90. He was 91, 92.
Mm-hmm.
My grandfather at the time was 70, about to turn 71. And so he, health had been ailing, and I went over there to just sit with him. And he was like, well, Kevin, in the Bible, it's only promised that you get 70. And for those of you that don't know what a score is, 20 years. So in the Bible, it says you only get 70 years if you're lucky.
Yeah.
He said, I'm 91 years old. He said the last 21 years been a bonus to me. Right? And it was ill because we had that conversation, and then the next week he died. And this was June of 2010. And I remember my grandfather didn't go to the funeral because I think my grandfather was scared to go based on just the timing.
Yeah.
And so Mr. Bullock died in June. My grandfather died in August. But it resonated with me what Mr. Bullock said, because when my grandfather passed, he had just turned 71. So he got 10, like right on the nose, and then he was out. It was like, all right, Kingston was born, and then my grandfather said, all right, I done seen everything I was meant here to see. Boom. And so you kind of have those images, and then you have the images of all these young people that's passing on, man. Yeah. For a wide variety of reasons, man. And it's just like the trauma of the world gets to them. Yeah. You know, mental health. We had DJ Twitch from the Ellen Show. That was 40 tough, years bro. Old.
That was tough. And I think
40 years old, man.
I was on a panel the other day, and we were talking about mental health within the Black community. And we were just talking about how, like, we legit have to have a village mentality when it comes to mental health within the Black community. It's not just one person's problem. It's not just a person that's suffering that should be the only one screaming that mental health is a thing. And it was a sombering moment, bro. I can't even hold you. Just to think about how a few days before he transitioned, he seemed joyful and happy and content in a very good space. And it just goes to show you that sometimes the greatest sufferers wear some of the most convincing masks. And we do not know what people are enduring. Like, especially, like you mentioned, individuals are young, bro.
Man, my sister, 26 years old, man. Like real talk. And I mean, when you talk about mental illness and mental health and the awareness, you're right. It is a village mentality. Yeah. That we need to have.
We have to, bro.
Because people feel like they're on an island. You know what I'm saying? And it could be for a myriad of reasons, man. Yeah. You know, so I can't really put my finger on it. But I do think that part of it is, I think as a community and as a collective, we need to just do a better job of supporting each other. And I think during my reflection time and really thinking about the year, honestly, bro, that's the one thing that I'm just so grateful and appreciative of, especially during this season, that in the midst of all of the challenges and tribulations that I've been going through this year, like it's my circle, man. My circle, man, you know, people have legit reached out. I got cussed out by my best friend Bub around my sister's birthday. You know, I had a meltdown in the episode. A few things happened, and I didn't want to talk to nobody. Right. Mm-hmm. My cousin called. I sent a text message back. I don't feel like talking right now. He called. I said, I don't feel like talking right now. And he told me straight up. He said, you're going to stop shutting me out every time you're going through something. That's what we're here for, to lean on one another. Mm. And like, he held me accountable. He legit held me accountable. You know what I mean? And I've just been so fortunate and blessed to have a wide variety of people in my life, man, whether it's Shantae, my cousin Ron, and my cousin Kim, my homegirl Ashley, if it's my lady friend Michelle, if it's you, if it's Bub, if it's you know, even my mother, you know, even though I try not to put a lot of stuff on my mother because I know my mother going through something, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I think the beauty and the struggle is that she and we tried to strategize around the month of November. And we tried to strategize, like gearing up for the holidays, because we just knew it was gonna be some shit. We knew we going through it, man. Yeah, we going through it, and so we had a strategy, man. You know, on my sister's Facebook page, I shut all that stuff down in terms of people tagging her and tagging everybody up, because I said I don't want to see it. Yeah, I get it. People grieving in their own way, but I don't want to see it because people take pride in shouting out the RIP or happy heavenly birthday on the Facebook page. Sometimes I think it's sincere. Sometimes I think it's for clout.
Absolutely.
And so I shut it down, right? And then thinking about it in terms of, my birthday, and we celebrated and we partied. Mm-hmm. And so I said, all right, I'm gonna celebrate my birthday and celebrate life. Then I know my sister's birthday is a week later. And so I'm gonna celebrate all the way through. And then things just happen. Brother Jay, things happen that you just don't expect. And it really threw me off guard. And so my birthday, a week later, my sister's birthday, a week later, my mother's birthday, then it's Thanksgiving. Mm. And so she and I, we kind of had a good understanding of like, look, this is how we getting down for the holiday season. And it's so funny because she asked me, she said, well, you don't know, you normally don't come home for Christmas. Because, I hate Christmas. I haven't enjoyed Christmas in many, many years, man. I think I was scarred when I was married, having a split time and families going crazy and stuff like that. It's a lot of stress. Fair. And so I feel most comfortable just sitting in my living room doing my thing. And I said, well, I was actually just thinking about coming home and kicking it with you for Christmas. And, we just do what we do. And she was like, yeah, come home. And I said, all right, well, that's what we'll do. So like, we've talked about how to maneuver around these things, but stuff just happens, man. But I do feel like when you talk about that village mentality, it really does take a village. I've had a village supporting me and praying for me and loving on me and really walking with me through this journey the whole year, especially in moments where I felt like, yo, this is some bullshit. Yeah. I don't know if this is worth it. Yeah. And people have just been like right on time. Like right on time, man.
And you get in those moments where you draw inward. And I remember I was telling my therapist this. I said, oftentimes when I draw inward, it's because I'm pulling on the last bit of strength that I have in that moment. And if I don't draw inward, anybody can get it. Right? So
and don't get me wrong, some people have gotten it this year, Brother Jay.
Hey, listen. Listen.
My apologies.
Sometimes you gotta let the chopper sing, bro. Like, and so like you draw inward. Like I pull it in because I'm like, if I remove access, people won't get what's not meant for them. Right? And I always make sure that when I do draw inward, I let someone know that this is what I'm doing. So they know to check on me. Hey, listen, rough day. This is what I'm finna do. In a couple hours, holler at me. Just check on a brother in a couple minutes. And I need 2 solid hours to where I don't hear nobody's voice. Nobody's asking me for anything. I'm not getting somebody's unsolicited advice or opinion or telling me what I need to do, and they're not where I am. I just need to decompress, and then I'll be able to move and navigate. So I draw inward. And one of my friends, she hit me up because of how I responded to a text message. And she said, I was about to cuss your ass out via text message, but then
she gave you some grace.
She said something clicked and was like, pick up the phone and cuss him out instead. So I'm going to cuss you out, and then I'm going to ask you, is everything okay? Because you don't talk to me like this.
I had a few of those episodes this year, Brother Jay. Yeah. I ain't going to lie to you. I had a few of those episodes.
And I think it happens, right? But I'm very appreciative of the people who don't give a damn about boundaries when it's time to check in. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, we joke often, and like that day I hit you up, and you had a time limit. And you was like, my bad, I was X, Y, and Z. I was like, all right, cool. I was on my way to Woodbridge. And I was like, now I'm going to have to fight the little nigga because, like, He gonna
Yo,
open.
why? Yo, everybody gave me threats this year, man. Like, yo, man, if you don't pick up, I'm on the way.
Yo,
but when I'm on the way and I get there, you got to see me.
I hit Mike up. I was like, yo, what you got going on? He was like, man, I'm chilling. I was like, all right, cool. We might have to ride to Woodbridge. He was like, yo, everything good? I was like, I said, he got 38 more minutes before I'm on my way. I said, I was coming to the area anyway. And so I was like, I'm a put up with 95 South and traffic and bad weather. He gonna have to see me. He gonna have to catch these hands. Like, and if he's good, I ain't gonna hit him as long. But I'm gonna swing on him. He gonna have to, like,
yo,
yeah.
Bro, I got so many of them damn threats, man. I'm telling you, but it's love, man. But sometimes we need that tough love too.
Yeah, and I think everyone. I think we have to be very intentional with who we put around us so that they know what we're saying when we're not saying anything, right? Like, I have people around me that if I don't respond a certain way, they give me grace, and in an hour we gonna try it again. Like, one of my homegirls, she does not talk on the phone. Her husband calls me. He was like, hey, bro, you good? I was like, yeah, you good? He was like, yeah, your friend down here spazzing though, because like you ain't respond to nothing, social media, text message, or nothing, and she's spazzing. I was like, so I FaceTime her. I was like, you good? She was like, Nick. She said, she shows me, she had a bag. She said, I had a spend the night bag and everything. I was on my way to the airport. I was like, where was you coming? She was like, I was on my way to West Virginia. She said, I told my husband. She was like, either you gonna drive me to the airport or we gonna catch an Uber and you going with me. Don't even let me know your decision. Just know in 7 minutes I'm ready. I was like, well, I appreciate you. I said, well, what? Instead of doing that next time, why don't you call someone that's closer to me that can come? She was like, I couldn't think. I couldn't think fast enough. She said, I was trying to give you grace. My husband was like, I'm going to call him. She said, no, he may just need some. She's like, yeah, but if I call and find out everything's okay, maybe he's just busy. Or maybe T-Mobile is down because, Sprint T-Mobile thing.
Yeah, man.
She wouldn't hear none of that. She was like, yeah, okay. His computer ain't down. I was like,
no.
But
I get it.
You got people that are around you that will give you the grace and the space that you need, but they're also letting you know, like, you don't get to keep, like, you're not by yourself. And I told one of my mentees, I said, listen, you may be by yourself in your apartment, but you aren't alone in this, and you don't have my permission to keep excluding me. In moments like this is when you need to pull in, right? This is when you need to tug on the rope and let people know, like, hey, I'm sending a signal of distress. Even if you say, yo, listen, having a rough day, need a couple minutes, cool. If nothing else, I'm going to roll up to your house to look at you. And I told one of my homeboys, we started this in college, I called him for something and he didn't sound right. So I sent a text message. The Qs, the Alphas, the Noops, a couple Sigmas from a couple campuses over, like, we rolled up. His face was like, the F y'all doing here? I just kicked the door open. Go back to what you was doing. We good. Bruhs was cleaning the kitchen. Somebody was taking out the trash, making sure the house was straightened up. Bathroom, we cleaned that up, made sure he had food, and we was like, yo, we needed to make sure you was good. And clearly we see that you not. So we finna be here until you better.
Man.
He just looked at us. I said, you gonna have to fight all of us if you swing on any of us. So just get that out your head. And I said, go back to bed. We here. When you come out and you ready to talk, we right here. We was there for a couple hours. And then once his LBs came back in town, they kicked it. They stayed at the house. But like the next couple of days, he was like, yo, I legit appreciate y'all, but I really wanted y'all out my house. I said, and we knew you wanted us to be out so you could be in that space by yourself.
Yeah.
But we needed to prove that you're not doing this by yourself. We here. If you don't want to talk about it, cool, but you ain't got to sit in it by yourself. Right? And so I told someone, I was like, we, as a village, right, going back to what we were talking about in terms of the village, we got to get beyond sending a text message or...
You good?
We got to go beyond the good thing, right? Because in my head, when anyone says, hey, you doing okay? You're giving me the answer that you want to hear. Yeah, I'm doing okay. Or you good? Yeah, I'm good, right? Instead of saying, yo, how are you? Like I hit one of my mentees up today. I was like, yo, how are you? Don't give me no bullshit answer either. I said, and you have 24 hours to respond. So he sends me laughing, crying emojis. He was like, stressed with work. I'll call you tomorrow. I said, okay, but the timer doesn't stop until...
the timer don't stop, man, because even I was sending text messages and things like, all right, man, I just don't feel like talking right now, blah, blah, blah. Then my cousin Rhonda goes, she's like, yeah, well, me and Kim, we on the phone. We needed to see if we need to put some lawyer money together for you. I'm like, lawyer, I need a lawyer now too? Like, yo.
Listen.
Resources get activated, man.
Listen, everybody, things get activated, right? And I said, that's what the village needs to start doing, right? Like, pull up. You haven't heard from somebody? Come knock on the door. You good? Knock on the door and lay eyes on people. Like, physically, do they look like they're okay?
Yeah.
I know we still in the middle of a pandemic, and they may be down with something that we don't want to catch. Wear a mask. But like, we really need to start laying eyes on people to make sure that not only are you good, show me your refrigerator. Have you been eating? Right? Like, I rolled up to one of my homegirls. Her son had a basketball game or something. And so I went to the house to drop something off, and then I had to pee. So I just went inside. I opened the door. I was like, the hell's going on in here? Like, and this is someone who carries a lint brush with her everywhere she goes. Like, you're not going to have one thing on me that don't belong. And I was like, so I had to use the bathroom. That was an emergency. So after I used the bathroom, I said, now, what's happening? There was laundry that wasn't done. There was dishes all in the sink. I mean, it looked as if she checked out and was like, I will be back in 2 weeks. I'm still here physically, but like,
yeah,
her
she
son
was out of character.
It was. So I text her line sisters like, yo, I know I ain't one of y'all, but I'm gonna use this phrase. I'm at your LS's house, calling for backup. So they roll over and they were like, her LS was like, girl. So we all laughed because we were sitting there thinking like, she was like,
something is wrong. Something is going awry.
Never like, and so we had an intervention before going to her son's basketball game. And her son's father had the son, so he comes over and he was coming to talk trash. They very good co-parenting relationship. He said, "Oh," he was like, "I want to show concern, but I ain't trying to give you too much concern because I ain't trying to cross that line where I care too much." So everyone was making like light of the situation to bring her out, but like we had to intervene. Like we finna go to this basketball game, but we got to discuss this. Like this ain't.
Yeah, your dinner from 2 nights ago is stinking up the joint.
This ain't.
Yeah.
No. This ain't okay, right? And a lot of times, people are in situations and spaces like that, and they respond to your text message like, "Yeah, I'm good,"
just to get you off the damn phone.
Yep, and
I'm guilty of that,
bro. So I can tell you responded to me one day. You said something that I was like, I'm gonna give this nigga 2 hours to fix this statement, and I'm gonna ask another question, and then I asked you another question, and I sent you something else. You responded more accordingly. I was like, okay, I'm gonna try him again in a couple hours. I sent another message, And then the conversation kept going, and then you were engaged, and I was like, okay, maybe he was having a couple seconds that he needed to himself. I looked at the message. I said, all right, you got 2 hours. 2 hours to redo this one before before I escalate it up.
I ain't gonna lie, man. I got so many threats. During distress, man. Y'all, you getting threatened and you distressed at the same time.
Listen, I'm down and out, and now you telling me I'm about to get my ass whooped? And it's not funny, but you do be in a space where you don't even have the energy to cuss nobody else out. Like, all right, man, you just gonna have to whip my ass today.
That's it, man. That's it, man. I at least got 10 ass whipping threats this year, bro. At least minimum.
And I think maybe not necessarily the ass whooping and the threats, but I think we need to do a better job of being intentional and really leaning in, right? And one of my friends was like, well, I have a hard time trying to find a balance of, like, I don't want to cross the line. And I said, yo, sometimes you got to cross the line and apologize. If you overstep, apologize that you overstep. Yo, listen, you didn't sound like yourself. Well, when I saw you earlier today, you didn't look like yourself. You wasn't responding like you typically do. So I pulled up to make sure you good. If you good, I'll leave. If not, do you need food? Like, I'm coming with food. I'm coming with water. If we need to go somewhere, if it's an urgent care situation, an emergency room situation, like, we need to be able to truly assess where our friends are or where our loved ones are. Hell, it doesn't even have to be friends or loved ones. It could be your neighbor. Like, if you know your neighbor, I remember one time I walked outside and my old neighbor just kept looking at him. I was like, you good? He's like, yeah, man, I had to come and warm up. I just kept looking at him. I said, you had to come and warm up? He was like, yeah. I said, okay. Cold inside? Yeah. And earlier in the week, he told me that something was wrong with their air conditioning unit, so it was hot inside. And I know no one came to fix it and it didn't get replaced, so I was like, huh. So I texted his wife. I said, hey, what time are you getting home? She's like, oh, I'm leaving the store now. I'll be home in a couple seconds. I said, okay, great. I'll see you when you get home. Right? So I'm now sitting outside having a conversation with someone who I could tell something's off. Mm-hmm. She pulls up. She's like, what you doing sitting out here? Blah, blah, blah. And how he was responding, she knew something was, there was a challenge, right? And so had an infection that elevated his fever. And so cognitively, like, stuff wasn't making sense. Wow. And I'm just like, you had to come outside to warm up, but you out here in a hoodie. Like, you're outside in summertime in a hoodie, but you needed to warm up. Like, if nothing else, take the hoodie off so the sun can get to your skin faster to warm. So it was like, people really need to be intentional. And, like, if you're going to do a wellness check, show up.
Yeah. What do you think prevents us from being actively engaged? Like, what do you think? Why is, if you respond everything okay and somebody says you're good, why do most people not go that extra step?
Inconvenience. I sat and I listened to someone say, I'm glad she answered me because I did not want to ride all the way over there. And I didn't say nothing. I just sat there like, the reason you were going should supersede any type of inconvenience that it may cause. I would never tell somebody or say that, oh man, I'm glad somebody else went over there because I did not want to drive 2 hours over there. Like, the fact that you felt that you should or potentially may have to make this drive, anything called, like, the inconvenience notion should have been removed. right? And so I listen to people who seem as if they are operating out of concern, but in actuality, they're operating out of curiosity.
There's a lot of that out there too.
They're only checking on you to find out what's going on with you, and not because they want to help you get out of the space you're in. That's because somebody called them and said something was wrong, and they called them to find out if they knew, right? I told a former friend, I said, the reason why you don't have friends is because you don't know how to be one.
Ooh, that's heavy. There's a lot of people that don't know how to be a friend, man. That's for real.
They got offended and they looked at me. I said, the fact that every time something's happening with one of your friends, you're thinking about how it impacts or affects you, says a lot. Like, your friend is hurt, so now you're trying to figure out how big of an inconvenience you're willing to put up. Like, I am not trying to ride all the way out there and spend most of my day, like, this is the only day I have to myself. I'm not trying to spend this day sitting up in somebody's house who's depressed. Like, or
they'll say, well, yeah, I got stuff going on, but I've been there for you this, that, and the third time. You know what I mean? I did this for you. I did that for you. But no, it doesn't work. It's not a running tally.
It's not, right? And my friend said something. She said something to me, and like it hit, right? Like, I had a frog in my throat. I was like, she was like, our friendship is valuable to me because you never count the favors that you give. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, where's this coming from? She was like, in any of our friends within our group, like, we had this conversation the other night. And I was like, damn, y'all not inviting me to the group chat? She was like, nah, somebody was like, yo, somebody check on you because you stated that you was having a rough day. And we just started having a conversation like this nigga is never going to remind you of what he's done. Like, he's never going to bring up, like, this is what he's done. Like, ever. And I was like, well, because we're in close communion, right, with one another, our circle, because I would expect the people that I'm having around me to operate the same way that I'm operating, right? Like, if I see someone's in need, I'm not going to be like, oh, well, nigga ain't show up for me, I ain't showing up for him. Like, that's there's two things that's happening there. One, like, if I'm able to help alleviate the situation, I'm going to show up. Do I remove myself from future access? If there's no reciprocity, that's a different conversation, right? But if the need has been brought to my attention and I have within my capacity the resources and the tools to help this need be met, then it's my obligation as just a damn good human, bruh. Like,
human being, yeah.
Just to help someone who I have been in close communion with. And so, going back, like, we don't talk about convenience versus inconvenience when someone is in need, right? Like, yeah, there's been several times where, like, I did something and in my head I'm sitting here thinking, like, shit, tomorrow's gonna be a rough day because everything I was gonna do today, I can't, which was gonna help make tomorrow easier. But I have to figure this shit out because the greater need is me being where I'm about to go.
Mm-hmm.
And we as a community, we need to start showing up better for one another. And, like, showing up intentionally, not showing up for the sake of posting it on social media.
Yeah.
Not showing up just so you can say, hey, I showed up.
And people do that though, Brother Jay. That's the wild shit. Like, people will do something for somebody. Like, you ever see people do, especially, it's the holiday season, and people do clothing drives or food drives or X, Y, and Z, or they do things for the less fortunate. And then you take a video of you giving the homeless guy a jacket and some food and say, yeah, we out here feeding the homeless. It's the most sincere thing that I ever see, because what does it say in the Bible, man? When you pray, you shouldn't pray to be boastful. You should pray and you don't have to use a whole bunch of fancy words, right? Or you don't necessarily have to be a benevolent person and tell everybody about it.
Yeah. And like, what's the reason you're doing it? Like, we had a conversation at the lodge once because they wanted to take pictures with families that we were donating food to. I said, well, one, if you're down and out and you need these donations to like continue life, would you want to pose? Dude. Like, if anything, and I told, there were some fraternal organizations, and we were in a training, and I literally had to rip the Band-Aid off. I was like, if you need pictures for your scrapbook, take a picture in front of the items you're donating. Take a picture in front of the bags that you put together, that you assembled. Take a picture in front of the space that you just cleaned up.
Exactly.
But taking a picture and incorporating the people who are benefiting from your service, that's completely unacceptable.
Yeah, I can't rock with it, man.
Like, because that's not, well, depending on who you are, that's not why we're doing this, right? We do service because this is part of who we are, right? Like, when we see somebody on the side of the road or someone that's asking for food, like, we just give. We do if we feel compelled to give. Taking a video and a photo, like, yo, no. Like, a lot of times, I had one of my mentees with me. Somebody asked us for something. I rarely carry cash, right? This day, the cash that I did have, they were some pretty big bills. I wasn't fitting to break the bill, so I just said, here. And we were on our way to catch the train because we were flying out. He said, big bro. I said, what's up? You do realize you just gave that man $100. I said, I didn't, but okay. He was like, $100. I was like, thank you for making it aware. I don't carry cash. All right. He was like, man. Like, for about 15 minutes, we get to the airport, we go through security, and he's just looking at me. He was like, bro, I probably would have been like, yo, I'm gonna be late. I'll either say no because I'm running late, or I'm gonna run inside the store and I'm gonna buy you what you're asking for. I ain't gonna give you $100. I said, well, at the end of the day, it wasn't my money to give anyway. Right? The money was given to me.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, as a good steward, I'm going to give it to someone that's in need. What he does with it, beyond my control. I felt compelled to give. I gave what I had. It wasn't mine to begin with. And he was like, man. And so we were going somewhere, and he was getting ready to tell somebody. He was like, yo, man, this guy just gave. I said, hey, look at me. Nope. That's not their business. And then it started to click, like, I don't have to tell everybody what I do. You don't. You don't need to put it on Facebook, social media, TikTok, none of this stuff, right? You don't have to even tell people that you hang out with, like, oh, this is what I just did. Like, no. Right? There should be no motive attached to giving, right? I'm going to give now because I know, when they get on, they're going to look out for me. They're probably going to look out for you in general because you were just being a good person. If you're genuine.
Because the gift is a transaction of love, man. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, that's the way the universe balances itself out. You put out love, you get love in return.
Double for your trouble, right?
You know what I'm saying? I think the part of it is people have expectation. You say, all right, well, kind of like in our prosperity preaching, right? It's like, all right, well, yeah, you got to give this and give this and give into God's kingdom, and you will get it all back in return. Now tithing is important, right? Because hell, churches got to keep the lights on, and they need programs for the community and things. So money is a tool to make transactions, but I think people get it twisted. It's like, oh, well, if I give $100, let's use the example. I give $100, then maybe I get $1,000 in return from somebody. Right. Or I gave this person $100, and so the expectation is that maybe I'll get $200 back for my trouble.
Yeah,
and you just can't think like that. And because if you put love in the atmosphere, Brother Jay,
you're gonna get it back.
You're going to get it back. And I'm a testament to it this year.
It's the echo effect. It's the law of the echo, bro. What you send out, you'll get back, right? And I know we wandered along away from our path, but like going back to the village concept, one, we need to be better as a community, especially when it comes to checking on one another. Two,
this time of year for sure.
We need to be more intentional with those we are communing with and allowing to be around us in close circles. Because if I am putting individuals within my close circle and none of them are like intentional or aggressive in terms of checking on me, when they can sense and feel or see or hear that things aren't well with me, I need to get a new circle. I legit need to get a new circle. Like, my cousin hit me up from Arizona. I ain't respond fast enough. Typically, our response time is maybe about 5 to 6 hours. 1, the time difference. 2, everyone's busy. But by the time somebody's head hits the pillow, like, we respond. There was no response. Phone rang. What's up, bro? Hey, man, I'm just calling, checking in on you. Oh, man, blah, 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 blah. He's like, oh, okay, cool. How's X, Y, and Z doing, right? We just had the conversation. Conversation turned to like 2 hours. None of us like talking on the phone, but it was needed, right? It was like, oh, you're not going to respond to my text? Bam, got you. All right. Like, ain't no problem. Finna call you. And we finna talk. But no, you have to have people that are around you that are your people. And it may not always be family. And the sad part is, right? I think sometimes we put people in our close circle because we want them to be in our close circle. But everyone's not equipped to be in your close circle. Everyone doesn't have the things that you will need, or everyone can't provide the things that you need within your close circle. Sometimes there's people that's going to be in your circle that you might have just met 2 months ago, but you're still forcing someone that you grew up with to be in your circle. They're taking up space, bro. Like, and it's okay to have different circles, right? But we have to be very intentional with who we are allowing access to us. Because I always go through evaluations. Like, if there's something that's happening to me and I don't hear from certain people, like, maybe I need to move them out of my circle. Now, I get it. Everybody's going through some things, right? But, like, radio silence is very loud.
It is. It is. It's deafening.
Right? And it's like, oh, all right. And I'm not just for bad things, right? Your close circle should be like intentional and aggressive when good things happen to you as well, right?
Absolutely.
Like, you should never have to question where people stand if they're in your circle. And we have to be very intentional while we are waiting for the village to get their life together and do what the village needs to do. we need to be very intentional with who we are putting in our close circle. And we need to give them access.
Indeed.
Because I'm kicking in doors, right? Like, I know where you live. I know where you park your car. I don't know the code to your house, but I know if I kick it in a certain spot, I can get through. I'm aware. I can assess the situation. I know who can get to your house a lot faster than me, depending on which direction I'm coming from. I have contingency plans in my head for most of the people that are in my close circle. If I can't get to you, somebody's going to be able to get to you until I am able to.
And you making sure you got the numbers to those individuals to make sure that happens.
Addresses, whatever I need, right? And it was funny. One of my friends, she was like, "Yeah, I met one of your friends the other day. Blah blah blah." I said, "Yeah," I told him, "Sent your picture. My friend just moved to the city. This is what she looks like. This is what her kids look like. If you see them out, introduce yourself. Let them know that I am the one that you have in common. Share information. Let her know that I gave you an assignment." So she's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yep, you told me what church you went to. I checked with my crew. They told me one of their homeboys goes there and his family." I said, "Bet, arrange the introduction." Like, this how we move in my circle, right? And so some of my friends get like weirded out when I'm telling some stories. They were like, "Wow." I'm like, "Yo, that's how we move." I feel bad because some of you all don't get to experience this, but this is how I move within my circle. Right?
See, people think like that when it comes to networking for business purposes, right?
Yeah.
Like people think just like that when it comes to, who can I do business with? How can I make a profit? How can I, get into this kind of circle for whatever means to my liking? You know what I mean? But people do that, but we don't do it in a way that's meaningful.
Yeah. Well, typically, once again, it's transactional when it's done in the professional sense. And I was like, use the same philosophy, but the different intent, right? Like, I know my friend just moved here. They don't know anyone. I got people here that has family that is established. If shit pops off and none of her family can get to her, they can get to her in 5 minutes before we get to her in 5 hours. That's how we move. I'll sit and I'll listen to people talk about some of the things that they experience within their friendships and some of their relationships, and I'm just like, man, this is crazy.
Yeah. But like you said, if you don't know how to be a friend, if you don't know how to be intentional with the people that you love, then you automatically at a deficit. But the thing is, don't expect people to do that for you if you can't get out of your way to do it for somebody else.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's right, you know what I mean? But I will say, like I said, it's a transaction of love, and what you put out, you get in return.
And you also, like, when you do it for others, you make yourself available for people to do it for you.
Exactly.
And I think that's key, right? You're making yourself available so when you are in need, people can come to your need. When you are in a dark space, people can bring light to where you are. But you got to make yourself available, right? Being in communion with people, that's what happens. You make yourself available for conversation, for wellness, right? For whatever. You make yourself available. But it's the law of the echo, man. What you put out is always going to come back to you. Always going to come back to you. Sometimes faster than you can anticipate or prepare for.
I'm a walking testament to it, for sure, man. I'm a walking testament to it. And I think that is one of the reasons why I could say, been through a lot this year. And I'm Antoine Fisher, man. I'm still standing. I'm still strong, baby.
Bro, I saw you post that as your your Instagram.
On the little note joints, yeah, man. That's kind of cool, man. You know, the little notes
bro,
on Instagram,
and I read
man.
it and I heard your voice. I was like,
I'm still standing, baby.
I was like, this nigga needs to go to sleep.
I'm still here, baby. I'm still here. I can't say that I made it, but I'm still standing, man. And despite the circumstances.
Yes,
and for that, I'm grateful, man, because this holiday season, man, I just know that it's a challenge for many people, you know, and I think even if you haven't been through things this year, I just think the holiday season is just stressful and draining for many people because of, we talked about it before, just the hustle and the bustle and, you know, things to do, people to see, trying to figure out, you know, how you gonna gear up for false expectations for the new year.
Yep. Yeah.
It's gonna be our year. It's gonna be our year. You know, but I don't know, man. What's one thing that you're grateful for this 2022 season, man?
I am thankful for the opportunity to rest and recharge. I preach it often, right? We need that time to disconnect, and I've been consumed with busy work, and it was starting to infiltrate my ability to see things clearly. And so I've been on PTO since the 14th.
Man,
and
that's what it's there for.
And the mental detox that I've been experiencing has been amazing. That's what I'm grateful for, the ability to do that, so that I can be fully recharged and ready for 2023. What about you?
Man, similar, but I think it's what we were talking about before, man. I'm just grateful and thankful for the people in my life that love me and love on me, man. And they make it a point to do so, because everybody don't have that, you know. And as we talked about when we kicked off the conversation, and you know, people are going through a lot of things, and I'm just happy, thankful, and grateful that in some of the most darkest times of my life, that people provided light for me, and that ain't nothing but God.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm thankful. I'm grateful. Definitely grateful for you, man. I'm grateful for your family too, man. Your family that looked out for me this year, man. I gotta come back over to Mama J's, man, and steal her money and your cousin's money. A Pekino, man. I'm a Pekino hustler now, man. So no, but I'm just grateful because I just feel like everybody in my camp, not only have they adopted me and accepted me, but their families have adopted me and accepted me. All of my people, their mothers love me, and that's dope.
Yeah,
it's dope, man. You know, so I'm just grateful for family. I'm grateful for friends, and I'm grateful for the people who have stood in the gap when I couldn't stand on my own. For sure.
It's a village, man. It takes a village.
Damn right. All the time. So I don't know, man, but I hope that your Christmas holiday is joyful and continues to be peaceful, Brother Jay. Peaceful. See, that's the whole point. Peace. People want peace on earth. Yeah, I want peace on earth too. I want peace of mind more. Peace of mind and maybe a piece of cake or a piece of pie.
Break me off a piece. Yeah, that's what I need, bro. And wishing rest and a moment of recharge to you and your family. And all of our listeners, man.
Yo. Hey, man. Hey, our show has been streamed 10,000 plus times, Brother Jay. Yeah, so somebody listening.
Somebody's listening. We appreciate you.
And we appreciate you.
We hope that this holiday season, whatever it brings you, that you are still able to pull down the rest and the recharging that you need as we make ourselves available for what 2023 will offer us.
That's it. And the hope is we will make ourselves available for what is it, Brother Jay? We'll make ourselves available for good.
Yeah.
Beyond our expectation.
Yeah.
Beyond our reality. We make ourselves available for our best, greatest, and highest self, man.
Absolutely.
On that note, brother, I love you, man. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. To all of our listeners, thank you so much for rocking with us, man. All of you from all over the globe. And you've just witnessed another edition of the Game Recognized Game podcast with RLJ and Kev. I'm KEV, that's RLJ, and we are the gentlemen advancing the melanin evolution, where evolution is revolution. Until we meet again in the new year, be light.
Be light.